The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and despair. Machines beeped softly as the young girl lay motionless on her bed, her lifeless fingers curled against the white sheets. Beside her, a man in $1,000 suit stood broken. His wealth, his power, his reputation meant nothing now. CEO Richard Harlow had built empires, crushed competitors, and ruled boardrooms, but he couldn't fix this. Then, one quiet afternoon, a man in worn jeans and a soft voice entered her room. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't rich. He was just a single father with tired eyes and calloused hands. He sat beside the girl, took her fragile hand gently, and whispered, "I'll help her walk again." Everyone thought he was crazy. But what happened next changed all their lives forever. Richard Harlow was the kind of man newspapers loved to write about: handsome, powerful, ruthless in business. His company, Harlow Technologies, had changed the world. But behind the glass walls of his skyscraper empire, he lived in silence and loneliness. His only joy was his 10-year-old daughter, Lily. She had her mother's eyes, bright and full of dreams. She loved painting, dancing in the rain, and calling her father at work just to say, "Daddy, come home early today." Then one stormy evening, everything changed. The car accident happened so fast. A truck swerved on the wet highway, metal screamed, glass shattered, and when Richard woke up in the hospital, his world was gone. His wife didn't survive. And Lily was paralyzed from the waist down. 4 months, Richard tried everything: best hospitals, foreign specialists, experimental treatments, but nothing worked. Lily stopped smiling. She refused to see friends. Her paints dried up, her laughter vanished. One day, Richard walked into her room and found her staring at her reflection in the wheelchair mirror. Her small voice cracked as she whispered, "Daddy, I don't want to live like this anymore." That broke him completely. The powerful CEO, who once made grown men tremble, fell to his knees, tears pouring down his face. He would have traded every dollar he ever made to see his daughter walk again. Then, fate intervened in the most unexpected way. One morning, while waiting outside the therapy center, Richard saw a man pushing a little boy in a simple wheelchair. The boy was smiling, laughing even though his legs looked weak. The man helped the boy do small exercises on the grass, his voice filled with warmth and encouragement. Curious, Richard approached him. "Excuse me, are you a therapist?" The man smiled. "No, sir. Just a father. My name's Daniel." Richard frowned. "Then how did your son?" Daniel looked down at his boy. "Doctors said he'd never walk again. But I didn't give up. I learned, I studied, I tried everything, because when you love someone that much, you don't stop trying." Something about those words pierced Richard's heart. He invited Daniel to meet Lily, even though part of him thought it was hopeless. But when Daniel walked into Lily's room, the air shifted. He didn't talk like a doctor, he talked like someone who understood. He knelt beside her wheelchair and said softly, "Hi Lily, I'm Daniel. You know, people told me my son wouldn't stand again. But they forgot miracles happen when someone believes in you. Will you let me believe in you?" For the first time in months, Lily lifted her eyes and nodded. And that was the moment everything began to change. Days turned into weeks. Daniel came every morning, bringing his son, Ethan, with him. Together, they made therapy into a game, throwing soft balls, painting while stretching arms, even laughing when Lily got frustrated. At first, Richard watched from the doorway, skeptical yet desperate. He noticed something strange: Daniel never talked about healing. He talked about hope. "Muscles grow stronger when the heart believes it can," he'd say. And Lily started to believe. Slowly, her fingers began to twitch again. Then, her legs reacted slightly to small movements. The doctors were shocked. One afternoon, while Lily tried to move her legs, she suddenly burst into tears. "I can't do it, Daniel. I can't feel them." Daniel knelt beside her, his voice calm. "Lily, when my son fell trying to stand, I told him something. You can't walk until your heart stands up first." Lily blinked through her tears. "What does that mean?" "It means you have to believe you're more than what you've lost." That night, Richard found his daughter drawing again, something she hadn't done since the accident. The picture showed three people holding hands: Lily, a man with messy hair, and a smiling boy. Underneath, she wrote, "Team Hope." Over the next few months, Lily's progress stunned everyone. Her muscles strengthened, her laughter returned, and one bright spring morning, Daniel said, "Let's try standing today." Richard's heart pounded as he held his breath. Daniel held her hands, Ethan cheered softly, and Lily, trembling but determined, placed one foot on the floor. Seconds felt like hours. Her legs shook. Her arms strained. Then, slowly, she stood. Tears streamed down everyone's faces. Richard dropped to his knees, hugging his daughter tightly. "You did it, sweetheart, you did it." Daniel smiled quietly. "No, she did it. I just reminded her that she could." Months later, Lily walked across the stage at her school's event, waving to the crowd. Daniel and Ethan sat beside Richard in the audience, cheering the loudest. Afterward, Richard turned to Daniel and said, voice trembling, "I have money, power, everything. But I never had what you gave us, hope. How can I ever repay you?" Daniel smiled. "By doing the same for someone else who's lost it." Final scene, inspiring ending. Years later, Richard's company started a foundation for children with disabilities named Team Hope. And at every event, a quote was written on the banner. "Miracles don't come from money. They come from the hearts that refuse to stop believing." And every time Lily saw Daniel and Ethan in the crowd, she'd smile, because the man who once whispered, "I'll help her," had kept his promise.